Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Self-Gov. I'm here, the team is here, Cosmo's here.
What up?
Sechaba is here. Brandon is also here. And I must apologize, I didn't shout you out last week. So I hope you didn't feel some type of way. You're a very noble guy. But yeah, we're all here. Welcome, guys.
What up? How are you?
Good.
The weather's been weathering. You guys look like you're in the dead of winter.
Hey, man, me, I'm recovering.
Are you still recovering?
God, nah.
Yeah, I'm
Is that
still
the flu?
recovering. I mean, I'm feeling better now. You know, I still feel a bit congested, but I'm recovered now.
Hey, you're such a softie.
I'm
I'm sure your wife is she's working at home, getting
you're
you back to
I'm
life.
actually alone, so
Really?
I'm soldiering it alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is she not here?
Nah, she went home. Getting ready for preparations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
yeah. But
Okay.
otherwise,
How's that going? Just by the way.
Preparations for what? For the people who are watching.
Marriage.
for my wedding celebration.
Okay.
Yeah, coming up next month. So she went home ahead of me too. Because also traditionally, you're not supposed to see each other like 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
What. So she went home and she's getting ready for that. And now I'm alone. I'm soldiering this thing, man. Like, it's not
It's around
nice.
the corner. Too.
It's not nice.
It's like, hey, I'm getting married for a reason. Why am I alone?
yeah, no, it's not nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm excited for you.
Thank you, bro.
Are you excited?
I mean, I think I'm not excited about the preparations because it's not my thing. You know, I'm excited for the occasion.
Okay.
You know, I remember someone asked me, I was like, I'm not too excited about the wedding. I'm excited about the marriage.
Okay.
You know, and it's like, yeah, I'm not, like, it's my sister's thing. Like, my sister is very, like, hands-on when it comes to these things. She's thriving. She's she's in the element. But for me, every time I see a call, I'm just like, hey,
It's a lot, ne?
yeah.
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 I went through that as well. But it was a beautiful celebration.
Yeah.
2 days.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Otherwise,
Look at the love in the room. Hey? Oh, gentlemen. Hey? I'm so happy for you guys. I genuinely am.
really.
Appreciate it.
No, being married is nice. Can I tell you what happened? I got home yesterday around 8:30. Left the studio around 8. And my wife came. She had a gift bag for me with a note. And the note read, let me see, I think I took a picture.
Yeah, I think you posted it on
Yeah.
IG, actually.
The note read, hello, my love. I just want to say that I'm very proud of you. You inspire me in so many ways. Here's a care pack, which I did not bring because I know he was going to finish it. Here's a care pack for you to get through the final push for school. MPhil, here you come. You got this. Yay. I love you, my handsome hubby. I'm grateful for you, your wife.
Oh.
So yeah, that's marriage, brother. You know?
Must be nice.
Yeah.
It must be nice.
When I know care package,
No care package.
no mid lemon, no
I'm
stony.
packaging myself right now. Everything is coming as an instruction.
Yeah.
I have to sort myself out
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah,
Very
must be
interesting.
man of the house by yourself.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
the fruits will come.
Yeah. All right. So coming up on the show today, we're going to be looking at NSFAS. We're going to be looking at Matric dancers. We're also going to be looking at what else are we looking at?
Where are you?
Because that thing's wild.
Yeah, nee.
No, it's wild.
Nah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and then we're also going to be looking at the marathon that was supposed to be taking place
Hey,
on
Cape
Sunday
Town.
in Cape Town. Yes, and then on the spotlight today, we're spotlighting side gigs, side jobs, side hustles, and we're asking: is it inevitable in this economy to actually have a side hustle? So that and more coming up. For now, guys, your Vaslaps. Yes. Your Vaslaps. How long do you use a Vaslap until like you get another one?
I change mine maybe every 2 months.
Dang.
Sech, I'm judging you.
At most. Sometimes it's even less time than that. But if I can, I'll try and change it often.
Thing is, I have like 5 or 6, bruh. You see? So
Why do you have so many?
because I change them. Like, I don't use the same one I use on Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it and then it's part of what I've washed.
The laundry.
Oh, in the laundry. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess that will give it a little bit more time
Yeah. So
for you to switch it out because you're not using it as often.
Yeah,
So because
yeah.
I use mine every day, I try to change it maybe every month, if not every month, maybe every 2 months.
Okay.
I was called a snob
Why?
Why?
because I change mine very frequently.
What's
How frequent?
frequent?
Yeah.
Like maybe like 3 months.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah, but
fine. I
that's-
think that's fair.
Yeah, that's.
At some point, it falls apart also. So you also just
Yeah.
like, what are you
And
using?
it turns into a scarpla. Like, I don't know.
But also,
no,
I think hygienically, there was somebody who had posted something about things you need to change quite often. I know your toothbrush is definitely every
Yeah.
3 months. I think even your sponges in your kitchen, you're supposed to change every week because of the amount of germs that are in the kitchen and in the sink.
Every week.
Yes, so then
guilty of
vase
that.
labs obviously I think would kind of fall in that frequent change situation because it's all germs and hygiene at the end of the day.
100%.
So I'm with you with changing it very often. Trust me.
Yeah.
There's some people
Yeah.
who sit with the same one for a year. So
Or 2.
why?
Yes. Bro, where you buying this masala? Longevity, pellet must go through its life cycle. Yo. I get it, it's a cloth first, it's like a wash, and then you best crop lapa, and then probably just something that's, yeah.
And do you use one or do you use 2? One for the face, one for the body. How do you go about with it?
No, I only have one, which I use on my body, to be fair. But I also think I'm an anomaly. I don't have like acne issues.
Yeah.
So a lot of people who use 2 is
Yeah.
because they're trying to obviously preserve, like to
Yeah.
keep the dirt away from the face. I just use my hands, wash my face with face wash, and then I dry it with a towel.
Yeah.
As in, and then I'm
same,
done.
yeah.
So I don't necessarily use 2. But I understand why people do use 2 because they've got
Yeah.
more sensitive skin than I do, you know?
Yeah, for whatever reason. Not for not, I just use mine to dry myself.
Yeah.
And then I'll use like shower gloves or, yeah.
Yeah.
When I need a glove, what again, Michael Jackson in the shower.
Prince.
That's so cool. I appreciate that because there's a lot of gentlemen who feel like
Yeah.
doing things like this is very like
Definitely.
it's very feminine and it's like it's not for guys because
it's very
guys
sassy.
have
But
to
I
be
feel like, I get you, but also I think it changes when you get exposed to other people like who share spaces
like females,
with females. Exactly.
not
Yeah.
men.
You know, because it was probably not like too much of a.
And you're not using Radox anymore, hey? As a
I've
body
never
wash.
used Radox. King Radox.
That one.
Nah, don't. But I was saying, like with when you get exposed, you actually see, for no man, I can hygienically treat myself better. You know, maybe if you feel like I was wasting, because I remember when I started getting into like products and all of that stuff, it kind of felt like I was wasting money.
Yeah.
You know, because I found myself spending like close to 2K on just products, and it's like, okay, maybe I am pushing it, but I just genuinely love products. Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with spending a lot of money. I think, like I said, it has to be something that works for your skin.
Yeah.
So I know some people who will spend a lot of money, but it's because those expensive products only work for their skin.
Yeah.
100%.
I've got a friend of mine who's extremely allergic to like a lot of things.
Yeah.
So she has to play it very safe. Like when she's using a product, it has to be directly from the manufacturer. She needs to buy it in a certain place. She needs to buy it, and it's expensive. And this, that, and that. Like she'll walk away from a discount having spent maybe about my 2.5 just on like facial products because her skin is sensitive. She can't even wash dishes with her hands. She has to use gloves because that's how sensitive she is. There are people like that. Unlike Tina.
Siyangena,
siyaphuma.
same here. I don't have skin issues or whatever.
But that's the thing. So it makes sense why. But also use something that works for you.
Yeah.
So if you're testing out a new
Definitely.
product, check how your skin reacts to it. If it's not doing what you want it to do, then stop using that thing. Don't reinvest just because you want to look nice for Instagram.
Yeah.
That is also a problem.
I think my issue lies in that because I felt like, or I feel like I've never had skin issues. I don't really even know what it is like to have a thriving skin. I don't put that much investment as someone who would have like allergic reactions and be like, I need to invest in this. So with me, I'm just like, hey man, everything going to sharp.
Yeah.
Mabo.
Yeah.
But I wish I could actually, because I remember there was once a lady she was getting like a facial treatment and whatever, and she asked me if do you also get this treatment? I'm like, nah. She's like, you should never, ever, ever get it. And I'm like, why? It's like, because once you get your skin exposed, wada. And I'm like, but I also want my skin to thrive, you know? Not just look nice, but like, I just want it to be healthy.
Popping.
Yeah, like I want it to be healthy. Yeah.
And the closer you get to 40, the more you need to look after your skin. And I say that even as a testament to myself. Just because I don't have skin issues, I'm now starting to be aware that I need to buy products that at least are going to keep the elasticity in my skin. Because I'm not going to be looking like 25 forever. You know what I mean? At some
Yeah,
point,
nice
things
skin.
are going to, but the closer I get to 40, it's going to start getting a bit tricky. So I'm also starting to now invest in different products just to keep, it looking fresh.
Yeah. So before we get into the spotlight, I remembered earlier on that you said you were single,
I still am.
right? And I was wondering, and I'm not trying to be forward or anything, would you be open?
Wait.
Would you be open to like a blind date
I've done those so many times.
organized by us?
Oh my God.
You.
On
yes.
camera.
Me, I'm loving this. If
Well,
you're
it's
not
up
on
to
camera-
you.
I don't mind recording it. I did a speed dating thing once before. It was actually really cool. Yeah, I did like a speed dating for a friend of mine, Lemmy. He's got a TV show that he'd also done for YouTube. So he asked me to come on. He's like, no, just a speed dating thing, content, whatever. So I was like, actually, I'm not doing anything with my life. Let me go
Let
and
me
try it
come through.
out.
Yeah.
Had fun, did the speed dating for 5 minutes, and then I went home. Nobody... I didn't take any numbers after that. So, no promises.
Yeah.
However, I am open to doing it for the sake of the show.
And let me tell you why, right? I get a lot of guys who would ask me about girls, and they really sell themselves. Like, yo, dude, I'm looking at settling, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, okay. It's easy to talk when you think about it, right? But acting out what you're saying is a different story altogether. And so I thought about you, and I was like, but I'm glad you say you're open to it.
No, I'm open to it. You know why? Because I'm open to it. I've only got one life. I must live this thing.
You already have someone in mind.
Let's experience
Me,
it.
I do.
If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we move on.
Yeah.
You know what I
guy,
mean?
the guy says he wants to settle down, so
But you know what my thing is about those people?
yeah.
And maybe I'm generalizing. But you find that everybody will sell themselves to say, oh, I'm ready for this, I'm ready for that. The same way you go in for a job interview. No, I'm a hard worker. I learn fast. I'm on the job. I can do what you want.
Extra
Until
mile.
you've settled, then you're sitting in front of your laptop for 5 hours and you've done nothing. So, please, I can see through. I can see through the red flags. I'm just pre-warning.
Oh my
Before we
goodness.
record this date, if I'm actually going to bring a small red flag, and I think we need to,
Red flag and green
just a
flag.
small
Green
one.
flag.
Yeah, that's actually
And I'm just
smart.
going to
Yeah.
wave, and I'm
That's
gonna
actually
wave,
dope.
and then we're gonna see what we see and what we don't see, and he mustn't react. Those are my reactions. I don't want stories of why a red flag? It's
That
me.
is
It's
actually
not
dope.
you.
That's actually dope.
And then we'll take it from
Oh
there.
my goodness. Yeah, I have somebody in mind.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna set it up.
Hey,
I'm saying,
he mustn't fall apart on camera, please. We don't need that.
what do you mean by fall apart?
Because we need to be honest with each other as
Oh,
adults.
okay.
Yo,
Ne? Thanks.
that sounds tough, bro.
But I'm actually a very fun person if I like you. If I don't like you, you'll see.
That's the thing. That's always my case. When it comes to a date, dog. You always
What
have
are
to
you
be
more
ready.
relaxed when you're
No,
around the
you
person?
know what? I give people the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I'll definitely give it a try. Like I said, I'm open to it. And I'll be nice. But I'll let you know post date what my thoughts are.
Ding.
We'll do a post interview. And we'll talk about it.
That's wild. Surely it's different going on a date, like on a speed date, versus.
It's not a speed date. Obviously, this is a blind date, so it will be longer.
Yeah.
Speed dating was literally 5 minutes. Those guys had to chat in 5 minutes. That's why it didn't last long.
Yeah.
But with this guy, I'll give him some time. We'll see who it is.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's get into the spotlight. Sech, I think maybe you take over. You sent me a text, and you wanted us to talk about Matric dances.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Go for it.
So yeah, I don't know if you guys have been seeing the rounds in the news, but it was something that caught my eye, and also because of I'm also trying to get like a suit for my celebrations, right? And every person that's tailoring is talking about the Matric dance things. Wabo. I understand it's that time of the year or whatever the case, but it kind of hit me when the designer himself was like, "No, guys, these Matric dances are becoming too much."
Yeah.
You see, and I was like, what do you mean by that? And he's just talking from a designer's perspective to say the requests that he's getting, all of these things is like, even like the highest paying or like the most opulent people in his clientele are not even requesting some of these things, and it's concerning, basically. He was coming from that angle. And I'm like, my man, if it's coming from you, Wabo, and I couldn't help but tie it to, I don't know if you guys also heard the whole scandal that was happening in Durban, Hilton College, I think that was, where the headmaster was complaining about the opulence of parents when it comes to sports days and all of that. People coming in, fancy cars, having marquees, all of this. And he stepping in as a headmaster of the school to be like, okay, something has to happen. So I just thought of it as a conversation to be like, is there anything that could be done to regulate matric dancers, or is it okay? Like, it's not something to be alerted.
I hear you. Look, firstly, the headmaster, Hilton is the most expensive school in South Africa.
Yeah.
What are you expecting?
Yeah.
The parents work hard to send their kids to your school with the tuition that you are charging, that you are earning a salary from. Obviously, there's going to be opulent behavior because that's who they are.
Yeah.
They can afford to send their kids to Hilton, so they can afford to drive in with Lamborghinis and have marquees and drink champagne when they're watching their kids play rugby.
Yeah.
It's there.
It's there.
It's there. It's the
part of the
norm.
package.
And it's a private school thing also. It's something that I grew up seeing, and not necessarily with the fancy flashy cars, but like the more richer parents will come in and show you ukuthi ngisebenzile, ingane yami izobonakala ukuthi ngisebenzile. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just part of the package.
Yeah.
However, let's get back to the matric dance thing. A friend of mine was actually complaining about the same thing the other day. Because his son, I think, is 16 at the moment. So it's getting closer to the time where matric dance is around the corner and is obviously going to have to organize and figure out, the pricing, the suits, the cars, the what are you doing for the girl, all of that stuff. And it's ridiculous because the prices are ridiculous. Even the girls, mind you, you think it's just the guys. The girls are way worse because not only are we getting a dress, it's also hair.
Yeah.
And with hair these days, you could buy a wig for maybe about 10,000. That's just the hair. Then you're also then getting makeup artists that are charging 3,000 rand just to do your face. You're getting a dress that's close to 100K. And I'm saying that, trust me, I remember going to a designer for a dress for Durban July, and obviously he was panicking because he was running out of time for us to get our dresses for the July. And I was like, dude, just get me whatever's on your rack. I'll wear it and I'll go and I'll bring it back. He's like, he is inundated with matric dance situations because the girls are coming in wanting everything. They want the opulence. They want to look like they're at the Oscars.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
So if you've got a girl, you're paying way more than the guys are, trust me. At most of the guys, it's the suit, it's the car.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the girls, it's everything. Makeup, hair, nails, dress, lashes, everything, bag. Because the bags on their own are coming in at around 40K because they must come from Diamond Walk.
Yeah.
Because they're coming from Diamond Walk.
It's crazy.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
You're spending close to 200K, 250K on a matric dance that you're going to wear that outfit for 5 hours. And then what? And who are you to be dressed so opulently?
That's my thing. And I don't know if you've seen, but they're starting to do like they host.
Yes.
Like after the matric dance on a Friday, on Saturday they'll have like what you would normally do for a graduate.
Yeah.
Basically. Like whole deco and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
But even before that, there's like a pre-situation that happens before the actual dance.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that happening?
Yeah. And then they invite like a lot of people. Like my wife, she's a dancer at church, a leader at church, and she leads the dance team. And one of her dancers had a matric dance recently, and they all had to go. So she had a sort of like a pre-party. To the matric dance.
So everyone's trying
like
to
the red carpet.
So everyone's trying to one up each other with a party.
That's
Basically.
the thing. That's the culture.
And the parents
That's what I'm
paid
saying.
for that.
But you see, this is why I was tying it to the Hilton thing, right? Because it's like a culture now, right? It's like with what you're saying. Sure, it's a private school, all of this, but it's like the opulence is now trickling to the students or the learners, right? And it's like, okay, what are we essentially teaching at this point? Because that thing is coming a lot. That are they trying to one up each other?
Yeah.
Because when you start having conversations of wanting up or whatever the case, there are those that we always have to consider, the ones that are less fortunate. But only when say everything, so you can actually be able to go to a good school. It's not necessarily because they are wealthy.
Yeah.
It could be a bursary.
Could be a bursary.
scholarship,
Could be a
yeah.
scholarship. You understand? So now you bring this culture to matrics or like matriculants, and it's like, there are those ones that are just literally there for school.
Yeah.
And now comes this time where it's like, oh my goodness, giddy party, giddy dress, giddy outfit, giddy ing.
Yeah.
And for me, it bypasses the corporate companies that are trying to close the gap, because I don't know if there's initiatives now, there's people donating,
Yeah.
all of those things. But now with this opulence, we're widening the gap further, and it's like, what's on?
It's just getting harder. But the thing that I can always attest it to, social media.
100%.
Because if you didn't have a place to show off,
100%.
it wouldn't be as extreme as it
Yeah.
is. If we didn't have a place where you could say, oh, did you see my video? Oh, did you see I'm trending? Oh, did you see I've gone viral? Oh, did you see Usmang Mang did this? Oh, I need to do better because my dance is next week. So I need to one up that person by doing. It's my super sweet 16 all over again.
100%, actually, put it that way.
Yeah, the pressure is too much, man.
That's too much, bro.
Well, some people are saying that matric dancers, learners should actually come in school uniform to simplify it.
Aye, bola, bo. Aye. I remember hearing that once before. My cousin actually, I think, had to go to her matric dance in her uniform, and I cried on her behalf because I was like, what the hell?
Was she forced to? Oh.
I think it was a school rule or whatever the case may be. I think they were trying to run away from that whole thing of some people can't afford it, this, that, and the next. And I'm like, just because there's some who can't afford it, why don't you make initiatives for people to get dresses where you can go to people to donate rather, or to even borrow? You could have a relationship with a designer who can borrow people's dresses and then you bring them back. Because lo and behold, you guys think that celebrities buy these dresses they wear at the red carpets and at Durban July's. No, they don't.
Yeah.
They go to designers, they have a relationship with them, they borrow the dress. It's either they pay a hiring fee or maybe they'll get the dress for a post on social media. They're not paying for those dresses.
Yeah.
So the same way that celebrities can do that with specific designers, they could create an initiative for the kids who are going to matric dances. Now, the reason why I'm saying no is because it's a special night. How are you going to enjoy your matric dance? You're not going to feel pretty. You're not going to feel like it's the last dance. You're not going to feel like, oh, I look special for my classmates if I'm in my uniform. Do you know what I mean? Because then you guys see me looking crusty on a Monday. I can't be crusty on a Saturday coming to do my matric dance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I suppose it works if pride is set aside, because these youngins, if they have to think about somebody having to borrow them a dress and all of that, then they feel like I'm a charity case.
I think I get you, but I also get what she's saying.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, that's a culture thing.
Yeah.
It's like when we do that, we're introducing a new culture and a new tradition of doing things, right? Because now we can literally start by saying designers can start showing off Matric dance by them choosing a school or whatever the case and going to schools and be like,
showcase.
Could be a showcase.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? Use that and be like, okay, I'm gonna go to Hilton College.
No, Hilton will pay. Don't worry. Designers,
want you
please.
there.
Designers, I know you guys are struggling. Do not showcase. Go Hilton. Those people must pay for your dresses.
Okay.
It's different if you're gonna go to a different school that can't afford it. Please.
Okay, let's say Magundwane High School, right?
Dionayo.
Yeah, you go to that school, as a designer, be like, okay, I'm offering to give 15 students outfits. Maybe that's too much. I don't know what's okay for a designer, right? And then it becomes that, rather than it becoming a thing of like parents paying 25,000 and whatever the case. So in that sense, I truly understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
Like, let's introduce that culture of it not being about the expenses so much.
Definitely.
It be about.
I'm definitely aligned.
I mean, you still want. Yeah, you
it's
still
the
want
experience.
You still want to look good. You still want to. It's the last dance. I actually never. Yeah, it's the last dance. But you also want to look the part. But I just feel like with this whole red carpet culture now, it's just too much.
Yeah, it's wild.
I'm sure parents get anxiety. I'm not going to say the
Do you guys remember yours?
I do. I remember mine vividly. And I remember mine vividly because I caused a little bit of a stir at home because I took a white Afrikaans boy to my matric dance. My mom, my parents, both of them were just like, we ralang, but they had to keep it tight-lipped and keep it moving and take pictures and keep it because they didn't have a choice. This was my date and I need to,
That's wild.
Got my dress done. My dress was yellow. I remember the color. Did my hair all put together nicely. My dad came, he picked us up, dropped us off. The dance was amazing. I had a great time. Went home.
Yeah. You're introducing a new dimension to the earlier on conversation of me trying to set you up. So you're open to any race.
Me, I'm a child of Mandela. Rainbow Nation. Let's go.
Okay, cool. Sech, do you remember yours?
I do, bro. I do. And I loved it. Like, it's still one of... Like, I look at that night, and I'm like, there's nothing that took away from it. And that's why this whole Matric dance thing is a thing for me, because I'm like, you also don't want it to be, like, to take away, man. You know, because it's the last thing you'll do. But I remember mine. I also went with, my girlfriend at the time, you see. And yeah, dressed the way I wanted to dress. I remember there was this brand, Extra Royalty, that was coming out here in Joburg, and I had that. And yeah, went to the after party. It was nice, bro.
Yeah.
You know, and we sort of had like a nice celebration to our year. About the teachers did like this whole farewell thing. It was nice. It was nice. I still look back at some of those videos that the teachers sent for us to this day. So
I don't have any footage of the night, but I remember mine vividly as well. Very nice. So I finished school in Pretoria, and the guy who actually took me to my Matric dance, he had this pimped out, what do you call it, microbus. Let's remember the microbuses.
Okay,
Kaka. And it had a fridge and a table inside. Dude, it was so cool. And I think I spent for my Matric dance, my suit, my shoes, probably 3,000.
Yeah.
That was the total.
Yeah.
You know, and you look at what these kids spend now. It's like
150K.
Bruh. I'm not even spending that much on a wedding, bruh.
Yeah. You're not spending what?
That much for my wedding suit and stuff.
Yeah, no.
No.
And imagine that's just for one outfit because it's the Matric dance. With weddings, it's different because you've got maybe two outfits, three outfits. You've got food, you've got other expenses. But that's obviously weddings are a different conversation all on their own. But trust and believe, social media is the beginning and end all of our youth because everybody is looking at all the other girls. There's this girl who also became an influencer because she used to post diamond walk things all the time. Forgot her name. When
She's
I find her
Matric.
name, yeah, but she was a high school kid. But I just remember everybody started following her purely because she was, you know, a little bit more opulent in stature, being able to post certain brands and things like that she's actually able to afford, or her parents are able to afford for her. And her dad, I think, bought her a Porsche or something in Matric.
Yeah.
I was just like, and you know, sometimes I think what the principle is probably coming down to also on that is that yes, you can afford to buy these things, but what standard are you setting also for your kids?
Yes.
Because what are they working towards?
Exactly.
And I think that's also sometimes where I kind of then think differently because
Definitely
I think
get you.
the older generation, as maybe let me speak for Black people, our older generation didn't have those things growing up. So it's more of an ode to then give it back to their kids to be like, I grew up in poverty, so I don't want my kids to feel the same way. So I want my kids to know that and here's what I can give you, and this is what I can afford for you. And I think it kind of stunts the growth of kids as well because then they don't have that will to work. They don't have that will to take it to the next level for themselves. How are you giving them extra goals for them to then say, okay, cool, my dad did this. How can I do better? Because if you're starting off, your first car is a Porsche, are you gonna buy a spaceship when you're 25? Like, where are you going? You know?
Yeah. And also, are you going to appreciate things? And I think what you're saying adds to research that has been done on generational wealth. So apparently, like the third generation, fourth generation squanders the entire wealth because it was not instilled in them to work hard, that mentality, you know, to really go after things, your dreams and so on and so forth. When everything is handed to you on a silver platter, you're not going to appreciate anything, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, I mean, I appreciate my father when he says, I'm not going to do stuff for you guys.
100%.
You know what, I'm going to help you where I help you guys, but I'm not going to give you guys everything on a silver platter. You know, you look at my younger brother, Dinyiko, you know him. He got scouted. He was with St. John, and now he's in America because of basketball. He got scouted, you know what I mean? And even the mentality, yes, he's the last born and he should be enjoying all these things, but it's like, no, dude, because you want to be somebody in life, you have to go through this journey. And the journey sometimes is struggle. The journey sometimes is getting over whatever tantrums. because sometimes people pull tantrums, especially if you come from a well-off family, right? And the chat is nope. You have to go through the ups and the downs to really appreciate what it means to have things that you've worked for. So I definitely agree with what you said.
And even with that, I think maybe it's also because you can grow up even middle class. You can grow up far a little bit more wealthier than others. Go to a private school. There's nothing wrong with going to a private school. There's nothing wrong with having those
Yeah.
opportunities because they open doors for you, and it's also putting you in position where you are going to school with people who could get you to the next level in your next phase, maybe in your career or whatever the case may be. Because generally that's what it's about. It's about extending your network. That's what, whenever I speak to people who want to send their kids to private school, I'm like, why? They're like, no, I'm extending their network. They'll be able to meet I don't know, Cyril's daughter or whatever in
Yeah.
school, and they'll be able to be friends, and then they can work together, and it's all about network and access.
Yeah.
I 100% get that. I think you as a parent need to then instill that hard work in them to then say, okay, cool, I'll buy you a car, but for you to get this car, 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
A, B, C,
Yeah.
D, these are your lists.
T&Cs.
Because they can't just receive a car just for breathing.
Yeah.
Because then when they squander their lives and they're blowing their money, blowing your money, and they become drug addicts and they're doing weird things, you ask yourself why. It's because there's been no limitation, there's been no control of the conversation, you know?
Yeah, it's so crazy. UFS, we're talking about matric dances in schools, etc. I want us to transition to university. I kept the story in the prep because I remember you did say last week when we were talking about prenups, you said that what they're trying to do is a prenup. And I want to hear what you
What do you
meant
mean?
by
Okay,
that.
wait, let's break down what's happening at UFS first.
Cool. So, students slam UFS decision to extend provisional registration system. So, students are up in arms at the University of the Free State. This is where I went, just by the way, did my undergrad and honors there, reacting strongly to the university's decision to end its provisional registration system starting from 2026. So, in case you're wondering what the provisional registration system is, so it's a system that allows students to register and begin their studies before all their fees or funding are fully confirmed. So it gives a buffer to those waiting for bursaries, loans, or financial aid. However, from 2026, the UFS says students must be fully registered upfront, meaning that their fees or funding must be confirmed first.
Ooh, this is a tough one. So basically, they don't have that buffer for the delays, payment delays. Why?
They actually did say here, they said that they reviewed the provisional registration system and found it ineffective. So many students weren't meeting agreements to pay later. And then it says it will roll out a student-centered financial support strategy.
Okay, until they actually break down that student-centered financial strategy, they need to also give leeway because unfortunately we're in South Africa, everything works in its own time because African time. So we know how NSFAS sometimes can be a little, wary when it comes to doing things on time. There's a lot of delays when it comes to that. Sometimes people also don't qualify for bursaries immediately. Sometimes those bursaries clock in later. If you're getting that from, I don't know, from a specific company, there's delays. Life happens.
Yeah.
I think they should just continue with having systems in place because you sign a contract at the end of the day, whether it's an application, whatever. If you're agreeing to say this kid could be a star, but they just don't have the money, provisionally you accept them and then you give them 4 months or whatever. If they haven't paid anything by April, everybody knows you'll get deregistered because you haven't paid. You've got enough time. Why are they not deregistering students if they're not meeting the criteria?
Yeah. I think, in their engagements with the SRC, that's been a point of contention to say, no, but you can't. If somebody is already, studying here, why on earth would you actually want to deregister them? So I think it's a fight that the SRC is fighting.
But then that's also now unfair. And I understand where the SRC is coming from, but the university can't keep the lights on if you're not paying school fees.
I get that. I definitely get that. And I have some experience with this, especially with studying my master's, right? paid for it myself. My thing is, let's meet each other halfway as the institution and as students. I'll make an example. Gibbs said to us that, and I mentioned them, they wanted their fees to be paid by March, like the full fees. And that's like 208,000.
That's wild. You guys are wild for that.
Right? So I make payment in July, right? And because I was paying them monthly. So they send me an email to say, hey, thank you for the payment. We've received the money, but yeah, short. And I thought to myself, you guys are so ungrateful. Right? And we went through a period where there was a lot of back and forth, and they wanted to deregister me. But I'm like, guys, I'm like almost 18 months in it. I've committed so much money. Granted, I was owing them about like 90,000 or close to 100,000. I've committed like 108,000. Surely,
You know I'm gonna pay.
you know what I mean? And they're like, nah. Dude, pay us our money now or we are deregistering you. So I had to squeeze in that entire money in like 2 months.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? So I feel like it should be a thing of, to your point, like you're talking about 4 months in, then we deregister you. At least let me pay like a certain percentage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And let this be the thing that keeps me going and that gives me mercy in your eyes. But they're like, nah, we're not going to do that. And that's my problem.
So you see, when I say deregister, I'm talking about the ones who don't pay a cent. Like there's the ones who just arrive, they go to classes, and they go ghost on the payment plan. Do you know what I mean? Because they are those students. The HRC must stop behaving as if people are all above board. Because there's a lot of students who are also just, they're just riding the wave and they're seeing how far they can get with it. And I get it because situations are different. I'm not acting as if everybody's a criminal. But at the end of the day, like I said, the university also needs to keep the lights on. I do, however, agree with you with regards to you can't act as if my record has not shown that I'm a paying student. If you've got record that I'm a paying student, give me the chance to do that because my finances don't allow.
Yeah.
And you submit whatever you have and say, this is my job, this is how much money I make, but I'm still committing and I'm making my monthly payments. They need to at least have leeway for that.
Definitely.
And that's the whole point of speaking to a human being. Because there's a difference if I'm dealing with a system that's going to kick me out because the system says,
Yeah, the system
but if I'm
okay.
on the phone with a human being, surely we can maneuver the situation.
And there's certain like companies that will maybe say you wanted to go study, right? And then you have a conversation with them and they agree that they will fund you. But because of systems, sometimes the money will only be paid like at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And they literally write a letter for you to say, you can send this to the university.
Yeah.
But still, the university's like, no, dude, we want our money. But it's like, dude, come on, I'm coming here with a letter, an official letter from the company. They are committing to actually paying for my fees. Surely you can like meet me.
Yeah.
And I've paid the registration, which is often like a lot of money. For us, the registration fee was about 20,000. And this is outside the application fee of 3,000.
That's a lot.
Like, balrutang mo. What? But yeah, Brad, I feel like for me, like I'm just gonna come from it from the university's perspective to say, when I made that link to prenups, it's like they setting a standard for themselves, and it's probably coming from knowing what's been happening over the past years.
Yeah.
They're not trying to sound fair. I don't think with this introduction of this new system, they're not trying to be fair. I don't think being fair is what they're trying to do. And they're saying, if we're not fair for you, go somewhere else. And
TVET. Go to a TVET or something.
Go wherever.
Yeah.
Just not here. Wabo. And because with what you're saying also, there's a lot of students that drop out, bro. That just register to drop out at the end of the day. Wabo. Now my only thing with this whole thing is the universities or the varsities, they know these systems, right? Instead of introducing a system that could work between them and the funders, because like NSFAS, NSFAS is just doing its own thing, But instead of it being an NSFAS situation or issue, it's like it falls on the student. Wabo. It's like it's your fault that you're not gonna be paying in them, but it's like NSFAS donating, it's gonna pay, and you see. So for me, it's like, I agree with what you're saying in a sense, Yauri. Are they out of options?
Who the students?
No, the varsity university.
Yeah.
To try and find like middle ground for students to try and help them. Because for me, it's sounding like what gives private institution, right?
Private.
Yeah. With the government institution, obviously, surely you have the students interested,
I used to think like that.
But clearly not.
I honestly used to think like that.
This for me is like a clear, it's like...
Bottom line.
Yeah, it's like, sorry to... It sounds like UFS is being a bitch. It's like a girl who comes and says, if you don't have 1, 2, 3, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
And that's that on that. And it's like, if that's a standard that they're setting for themselves, retiring.
Yeah, it's really what I realized. A lot of these institutions are about the bottom line.
Yeah.
I hear your story. Like, I really hear your story and I sympathize with you.
Yeah.
But dude, like...
I honestly think they need to have an entire finance department that looks at track record. Because if you've been ghosting for the first 6 months of the year, you haven't paid a cent, I guess Gumnandi, you've learned what you could in 6 months. See you later, alligator.
Yeah.
Because you're not trying to pay.
Yeah.
Even if wazamazama kari 2,000, kari 10,000, something. At least show me that you're trying to pay this money. Then we can work out a payment strategy. We can figure it out. We can even try and get you a bursary, whatever the case may be. I know it's difficult because there's a lot of students and it's a big university.
Yeah.
It is a little bit of a hefty job. I get that. But the immediate no upfront is a little tricky. However, from a business standpoint, in and as much as, yes, it's a government institution, they're still a running business.
100%.
They've still got overheads. They need to keep the lights on. They need to pay the professors. They need to be able to keep everything running with, and it's a big campus, which means it's maintenance of the property. All of those things need to happen, So that's not free. So I understand why certain things you cannot register. Maybe you can't register unless you've paid registration fee. Maybe the registration fee upfront could be 5,000. Then you pay that 5,000. The rest of the money, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the very minimum, let them register with the registration fee. I think the absolute nothing you haven't paid upfront all your fees, that's a little bit harsh, bro. Especially if I'm going to be paying 280,000. I'm not sitting with that amount of money. I know I want an MBA, but not that much. It's fine. We've got the internet and AI now. It's okay.
and the MBA is worse. The MBA is actually double that. The MBA is close. No, like in business schools.
Oh.
Yeah, it's close to like $1 million. Because they
Yeah,
have
bro,
the
education
global
is expensive,
module.
man.
The global module is compulsory, where you have to go abroad and study there for a week or whatever the case may be.
And those are extra expenses because you must fly.
Yeah.
You must accommodate. You accommodate yourself.
And
You
if
must get visas.
and if you say you don't want to partake in that, they're like, okay, do it online, but you must pay 15,000.
Nah.
Yo.
Nah,
Yeah, both
nah.
are not happy. I'm still there. Must come teach us.
So yeah, dude, like they go and they get like some really, really tough guys in finance, and you'll try and have a conversation with them. No emotion whatsoever. They're looking at you like,
Yeah, because you're not the
they'll
only
listen
one.
to you. Like, Noni comes and she says her story. She shares her story. It's like, no, I hear you. I sympathize with you. However, to your point, we have to pay the bills.
100%.
We have to
And you
keep the
can't
lights
deny
on.
that. You can't deny that. So for me, it's like if UFS is trying to set that standard for them, and the UFS is not afraid to be the university to do that until other universities start saying it too, eh?
Are they not like that, all of them, the universities?
No, I'm just saying like UFS has just always been upfront with like body looting or like upsetting like SRC and students and whatever. Soon you'll probably see UP and other universities also like introducing that same system. So I don't know who's the conversation towards to say, hey, this needs to, but I don't know, man.
I think at the end of the day, it probably, like you said, government institutions, government also needs to kind of play a role and figure out how they subsidize certain expenses, because then there wouldn't be a lot of the divide as to how things are happening. But hey, government, that's another conversation for another day.
It's less expensive.
Another conversation.
It's gonna say expensive.
It's expensive, and then like you saw the lootings, right?
Yeah.
It's always paraded by people who are like, Ben. You know, that's for me. That's the most upsetting part of
Yeah.
it all. You know, is that there's lootings and varsities are being burned down or whatever. It's always those guys from 10 years ago who couldn't finish their degree
Yeah.
mainly for the same reason.
And now they're stuck in poverty, and now it's become a vicious
Exactly.
cycle. Now its unemployment rate is increasing,
Exactly.
and that's why I said the people who need to get involved is government. Because if government doesn't go to the root of the issue, which is generally unemployment, because crime increases, poverty increases because of unemployment,
True.
because of the education not being fulfilled, or whatever the case is, opportunities being missed. And it starts at the root of the problem from high school, because you can get people through Matric. After Matric, what's the plan? Then it's like, every man for himself just because I'm 18. No, I kind of still need assistance to get to the next stage. Yes, by all means, I'll find myself a job once I'm educated, but assist me in one way or another. And I think that's a point where government needs to kind of buckle down on. They're busy focusing on funny things that have got nothing to do with us by wanting to buy flags for 22 million. Stop wasting money on things like that. Okay, let's focus on let's focus
he
on
not
things that are very important, which is education. If we get education right and we get employment right, by all means, I'm telling you, this is a proven thing because it works everywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
Unemployment will go down, poverty will go down, crime will go down. Simple.
Guys, we must let the dead worry about the dead.
It's economics. Huh?
I'm saying we must let the dead
Who died?
worry about the dead. Is it not Natim Tetwa who mentioned
Wow.
the flag?
Let's move on, please. Let's move on, please. Before we get cancelled.
May his soul rest in peace.
Yeah, man, there's a lot going on there.
There is a lot going
School
on.
can't be this expensive.
Exactly.
I understand the whole, it's a business at the end of the day, you know, like there's things to be run and all of that, but sheesh, man. For me, you know, like what's always been my thing is the gap between the courses that are offered at a varsity versus the employment in that course.
Yeah.
You know? And for me, it's like, no one is doing that. Like what, in terms of economics, right? Like, is that not a thing? You know, like, can't you say we can't enroll 10,000 students in this thing because there isn't employment in this
100%.
thing, you know? But it's like these varsities just take because you want to study this thing. Okay, cool.
It's also over capacity. So, for instance, I could qualify after Matric. I could qualify, for instance, to do Become Accounting.
Yeah.
But then when I register, oh no, Become Accounting is full. What else do you want to study?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, let me try business management. Business management is also full. Maybe try marketing. No, marketing is full. Okay, maybe psychology. People are just applying and registering purely just to be in school. Where now I'm studying psychology, but initially I wanted to do accounting. And maybe psychology is not my thing, kafeila. Or maybe even not psychology, maybe you'll get me into like, I don't know, biology or something that doesn't have jobs because it's such a focused thing that even when I pass, because it's not my thing, na pass 50 because I'm just trying to get through and get the
100%.
certificate. And then when I try to apply for jobs, those jobs are like, oh, but you're not remarkable. You just skated through. We're not going to hire you.
Yeah.
But it's not what I initially wanted.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. Like, I agree with what you're saying. Media degrees, I think, should be scraped.
Wow. Why?
What?
Guys, I sit with 2 media degrees. I'm getting my third. Obviously, it's in business. I've struggled to get a job. You know what I mean? But also just like thinking about kids who study media and then, you know, graduate. They get into the real world and they look for jobs and it's like nothing is opening up. You know, and I'm talking about a person I have 2 media degrees with experience, but still, like I struggle to get a job. You know, becoming an entrepreneur, it's not something that I'd actually envisioned for myself.
You were forced into it.
100%.
Yeah, got you.
You know, because it's like, you think about it, I came to Johannesburg 2019, quit my job, I was on radio, came this side because I thought to myself, there's something more for me. And I came here with those 2 degrees. I knocked and I knocked and I knocked and I knocked and nothing. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, what do I do now? I mean, there's a time when I was actually thinking of tenders. In fact, I got into tenders, not that I thought about it, I got into tenders. But even with that, it's like, you know. And so I had to think outside the box and say, okay, what do I have? What skills do I have? And how do I utilize them? And now I find myself doing all these things. You know what I mean? Not because I initially wanted to do the things that I'm doing, but because I had to think of a different plan. So I look at kids who studied media, right? And they're struggling to get jobs. And that's why I'm just like, I don't know, man. As somebody who comes from media, I just don't see how it works for the kids.
And again, which brings me back to my comment a little bit earlier when I mentioned people going to private school for networking.
Yeah.
That's how, unfortunately, it's how the cookie crumbles. Sure. I didn't write the way the world works, but that's how the world works. You might not have had access to go into a media company because you didn't have access to those people. You didn't have the network of those people. And even now, you'll find that a lot of kids that I know of might have graduated with, for instance, a finance degree or an accounting degree or whatever, and they're sitting at home. And you're like, this person is smart, they know how to do the job. They just don't have access to either apply for either a graduate program or maybe even know someone or smang mang who can get them an interview with a manager in a whatever place. Nepotism is rife and it's a real thing, whether you like it or not.
100%.
And it's how it gets you in through the door. And unfortunately for you, you didn't have the opportunity or the network. I still believe in media studies. I think it's in how you specialize in media studies.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's also a very generic thing. We say, oh, I studied media. Okay, what media? Because there's videography, there's photography, there's audio, there's radio, there's TV, there's journalism, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's many parts of media. So you then, again, like doctors, you can be a GP. If you specialize, that's where you make the money.
Yeah.
If you want to just be a general, I'll check your pulse and get a stethoscope. I'm a brother. Uzohlala ekhaya. Do you know what I mean?
Got you.
It's also how you push and how you navigate your way through this thing. It's an unfortunate thing. I didn't write the book, but that's how the cookie crumbles.
It's interesting what you're saying, and I guess this should be the education that starts within like school to say, hey guys, you can actually specialize.
Yes.
Because I think how they teach us, they teach us from like a general perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then people get out of those institutions and it's like, what do I do?
Yeah.
I agree. I also agree. I still believe very much in media studies, just from conception, because I wouldn't have known if it wasn't for film school, I still wouldn't have known, I still wouldn't have known what I needed to know to be in those spaces where I can network or whatever the case might be. But the main thing when it comes to media that I genuinely believe the issue is the people who've been in the media industry that haven't actually grew with the industry or at least grow the industry. You understand? And I say that because the media industry has been under siege for a couple of years. By under siege, I mean it in a thing, introduction to social media, all of these things. Anyone with a phone thinks they're a photographer or they believe they can be. Not that they're wrong or whatever the case. They learn how to do video, photos or this or that. But what does that mean for someone who's an actual cinematographer?
Professional, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying, like the scale at which the industry has grown could have been better. But I don't think because anybody knew it's coming. It's happening in other industries as well.
It's happening everywhere.
It's happening anyway. Finance departments or industries or whatever the case might be, they're being retrenched because of systems that can now actually do what people in finance could do or whatever, AI, this and that, you understand? But with media, it's happening so rapid, it's happening so quick that it's almost as if it's hard for the people in the industry to even keep up themselves. You know, I'm doing digital marketing now, and I realize how the curriculum now they're catching up. You know, it's almost as if the curriculum is trying to play catch up, and it's like, wait, where is the learning happening? Am I learning in the streets, or am I learning through the course? You understand? Because it's like, it's almost as if they take a real thing that's happened on social media, or even use like a Peter McKinnon, someone who's already doing like like something digitally and whatever, and apply that as a case study or whatever the case. It's not longer like, oh, really? I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's really just like the system itself having not grown to the capacity at which it could have grown. You know, like the industry giants, I feel like they could have grown the industry, you know, or like you look at something like Musica. You remember the
Yes.
store of
Yeah.
Musica? How it collapsed because of not introducing the new systems in what they already had. Musica could have been like an app long time ago.
Yeah.
But they just refused at the time to say, oh, no, man, we need to upskill, upgrade ourselves and become this and that. So in media, I feel like that's happening a lot. That's why everybody feels so protective of what they have. The network thing, you gatekeep because you're like, hey, I'm not gonna pass that thing because if I do, what if I need it 3 months down the line or whatever the case. But if we were like if we were growing the space, we wouldn't feel the need to always be hands tied on them. Yeah.
And you're right. And I think a lot of the gatekeepers generally are the older people in the spaces. And it's because it's difficult for them to grasp new concepts. So it's harder for them to be able to allow it and to grow with it.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say it happens in every industry, for instance, how being on radio, everybody knows that radio used to be the position where you would break a new song. And then it's like, oh, okay, we've got an exclusive, Smang Mang's dropping a song. Listen to this radio station at this time, at this hour. Otherwise, if you miss it, you've missed the song.
Sure.
And then nowadays, you're finding that artists aren't even doing radio runs because they're just like, I don't have to go and talk to some weird person if I don't even feel like I've got the skill to even speak English. TikTok, viral, let's push the song, finish. 100%. Social media is now pushing where traditional media is now trying to then follow through to then say, how are we catching up? Whether it's TV, because TV now needs to be edited over 2 weeks before it goes on air or whatever. YouTube, we're shooting today, tomorrow we're gone.
We're live.
We're live, baby.
So
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Radio is now following through on what's happening on social media. It's no longer a thing of radio breaking the music. It's now, if the song wants to be leaked on TikTok, you can train for a month on TikTok before you even release your song.
100%.
Sometimes you're training with a 30-second clip.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, it's moving. All right, let's record the song.
Yeah.
The song is being recorded after the clip has gone viral. And now
That is
the
crazy.
music only gets released after. By the time you release, you already know you've got 100K streams that are ready for you because people want to hear the whole song.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's because the old heads are trying to hold on. They're not trying to grow with it.
Yes.
As opposed to saying, how do we integrate? How do we move with these people? How do we collaborate to make it all work for each other? But you're right about that.
Very interesting. What I do believe in, though, is the podcasting industry. And though it's an emerging market, an emerging economy in South Africa, I think there's really a lot of prospects for it. In fact, for my research, my master's research, I'm actually studying business model innovation processes in the South African podcasting industry. And I'm getting fascinating findings regarding the podcasting industry globally, but also in South Africa. Okay. And I think that's an industry that I see blooming in the future. And that I definitely believe in. You know what I mean? Everything else, I'm still very skeptical. And I think maybe I speak from a point of trauma. You know what I mean? Because at some point when I was like knocking, I really believed that somebody blacklisted me in radio. Those are the thoughts that I had. I thought to myself, there's no way. I won 2 Liberty Radio Awards. What's going on? Like, why? It's so difficult.
One thing I can tell, it happens to everybody. You could be earning the highest numbers on radio. You still get booted out because somebody at the top doesn't like you.
Yeah, no.
And because they just don't feel your energy. Or maybe you said one weird thing on air
That's
time
crazy.
and now you're off air.
Yeah.
It's a weird industry. It's got nothing to do with you.
I hear you.
It's got
No, I've learned that.
it's got to do with the people in power and them wanting to put their people in power.
Yeah, 100%.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And then you
That's
look
so
at
true.
that, and like in that same setting, what you're talking about, and like you're probably like a radio guru or whatever.
Yeah.
Ask them their opinion about podcast spaces and hear what they're gonna say. And just to show you what I'm talking about in terms of growing the systems that already exist, or building on the systems that already like existed back then, and how can they be improved now? And you see how many people don't actually want to be like. For me, don't want to name, but SABC, right? Like most of the,
Why did you say that?
like the practicals. When I was doing practicals, that's where we were, right? Emana, they're like give my time, right? Like old generation and whatnot that you could genuinely learn from, but the resistance in them learning from you is crazy, right? And for me, that's where that's where it's like it is in a sense. We are unable to push this thing forward. Mara, it's growing at a rapid pace.
Yeah.
And it's like because of that disconnect, the opportunities are slim. You feel like degrees are pointless or whatever the case might be, because we are not broadening the space.
Yeah. And you see it also in the voiceover industry, but that's a topic for another day. I want us to wrap up, and I wanted us to talk about side hustles real quick. And my question to you guys is, in fact, let me give context. So apparently in South Africa, if you as a single person are to live comfortably, you need to be netting around 27,000 rand.
Really?
I know I know it's original in South Africa in general. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, that can't be true. Because I know in Cape Town it's too much. 27 in Cape.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying regionally. But that's scary.
Comfort, I think that's entry-level middle class. I think at the stage that we're at with cost of living, expenses, petrol, lights, because electricity's gone up, or water's gone up. All those rates are expensive. Rent is increased as well. And by comfortable, it's also based on region. Where do you live?
Yeah.
How much are you paying for rent? How much are you paying for a car? What car are you driving? How efficient is that car on petrol? How much are you buying on groceries? Are you shopping at ShopRite or are you shopping at Woolworths? Because that's why even that there's always that monthly post about what your shopping bag is going to cost you this month, because it varies every month. You know what I mean? But also that shopping bag, is it the necessities that you want, or is it the basic necessities of just eggs and bread and rice and milk and toilet paper? Do you know? Because you can't live, that's not comfortable. That's bare minimum.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm arguing that 27,000. I think it's more than that.
I want to talk about like the whole regional thing, because I think about it and I'm like, people would say if you're living in Mpumalanga, you know what I mean? Like 27,000 rand is a lot of money, right? But then I'm like, is it not expensive to live in such spaces? Because my thing is, if you're in a small town where nothing is happening, what do people default to? Having a good time, alcohol, and which wastes a lot of money.
Yeah.
So then, what I want to add to this is it not does it not become expensive when you're living like in a smaller town because there's nothing to do there?
I don't think it's expensive. I think it's far cheaper, firstly. I go to those small places all the time because I gig in those places all the time. I don't think it's more expensive. I understand where you're coming from an alcohol perspective, a nice time, because you're bored, there's nothing else you can do. Trust me, those tavern prices are way cheaper than what you're going to find in Johannesburg, firstly. Secondly, all they have is the local tavern and each other to keep each other entertained. Maybe from an expense perspective, it's the making babies problem. Because please, guys, we need to figure out the condom situation is Lalina, because all
That's
people
terrible.
do is they get drunk, they have babies, and then that's where the expenses come from, because they've got too many children, right? But from a day-to-day life expenses, no. I think maybe what could make their lives a little bit more tedious is maybe, say, transport.
Yes.
Because it's getting to the shops to buy your groceries and coming back, that might be a little bit of a wearisome thing. But I think 27,000 is more than enough for them.
But also, like, I look at my brother-in-law, right? So he's in Standerton. Is it
Standerton, yeah.
Mpumalanga.
Yes. Right. And there's nothing there. Nothing happens there. His girlfriend, his family's here. We all here. And it's like almost every weekend, because nothing happens there.
But nothing.
He has to. There's no economy there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We
Recreational
100%. We have malls here. We have stuff for leisure and so on and so forth. They don't have that side. So every weekend he has to
Drive in.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to, he's choosing to.
100%, right? And it's like, you petrol. And you know, if you're going to meet up with your girl, nyoko ya sonta. You know what I mean? And I guess I was also just like thinking about those. But I hear you. Yeah.
It is a little bit expensive, but back to the point of the conversation, the having a lot of jobs. I think having a side hustle is definitely important, especially in this economy, because number one, there's lifestyle, yes, but you also can't feel like you're working to pay your bills. Otherwise,
What's the point?
what are we doing?
Like,
Do
very,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
I can't work tirelessly to earn 30K a month, and then with that 30K, I've only got 100 Rand left to buy takeouts.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I need to also feel like I'm choosing myself and I'm doing something nice for myself.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes people will be like, oh, it's a waste of money. No, it's not a waste of money. I'm not working to be a workhorse.
Yes.
I also want to be able to take myself out, go to the movies, go to the club, buy a bottle of champagne. I might not afford it next month. It's fine.
Yeah,
But
but
today,
today I
I want
want
to
it.
buy it.
Yeah.
You know what? Go and buy those shoes. Make yourself happy. That guy had a point, because at the end of the day, you need to also feel good
Yeah.
to yourself to say, I actually woke up and I did something nice for myself.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm broke tomorrow. I get that. But maybe I've also planned out how much I'm willing to spend today so
Yeah.
that I can also then make it to the rest of the month. And then when my salary clocks in,
100%.
we're back in the game.
Yeah.
You know?
So it is inevitable.
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't know about inevitable, but for me, I think it has become so much of my identity or my professional identity that I have to have a side hustle. To me, it's not even side hustle. It's what I need to do.
Yeah.
And it's what you're saying, right? Like when I first also, then I left like my place of employment at the time, and I just like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing because it's not working out. I was working literally for nothing. And it was too much. Or it was taking too much out of me. And I was like, I'm going to get into this journey of entrepreneurship or like self-employed or whatever the case might be. But now it's engraved. Like I don't think it would be possible. I don't know if I were to get an opportunity that they say 100,000 per month in Donaga. I don't know if I don't know if I would still feel like I know I need to go. But I think it has become part of my personality professionally to, because it's also like mind stimulating, right? It's not just about the financial benefit of it all. It's the privilege of going to different spaces, meeting different people, learning about other things. You know, I found myself through film falling in love with other industries purely because I gave myself.
So are you saying the financial reward is at the bottom of your list?
I wouldn't say the bottom.
Okay.
But I'm just saying like the necessity of it, like the necessity of me having multiple or other opportunities is not just about financial.
Because you're right, actually, because anybody can need the financial opportunity, but once you're in it, you're also just like, okay, but am I stimulated?
Exactly.
Because then people get stuck.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, I'm unhappy. And you find people leaving jobs because they're mentally unhappy, but financially stuck there to be like, hey, but I've got bills to pay. Yeah. That's when you find some people say, oh, I just quit because I couldn't do it anymore. You know, I was breaking down, I was depressed or whatever.
Yeah.
So you need that stimulation that he's talking about in order for you to stay in it and to thrive. Because otherwise, what are you there for?
Yeah.
You can't only stay there for monetary value.
Yeah.
You know?
I've seen people who've like have really good jobs, get good pay or whatever the case might be, but find themselves stuck in those places where it's like they work so much, but like how not all for that. You know, like 6 days a week type thing or whatever the case, crazy hours or whatever the case. And the only time they will probably get is like a off thing. And then that's when you recreate, you go to other things that probably won't stimulate you as much as, and by stimulate, I'm talking about growth and other, like just being interested in new things, man. You know, being in spaces that allow you to have different conversations. The example I was making now was through what I do, being interested in other professions or what other people do, you know, like medical, something that I probably wouldn't have done myself, you know, but found myself like literally just being interested in medical to a point where I was like, should I go? Should I go? But like just saying like law, you know, but just that ability to be stimulated for me, the multiple streams of income or like side hustles for me, primarily it probably was for the financial aspect of it. But like I've said, I've acquired this taste of it being my professional personality that it's not just about the finances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would volunteer?
I do all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that either, because sometimes you expose yourself volunteering in a specific space, you fall in love with it, and you find a way to make money out of it.
100%.
You know what I mean? Because that's also what the opportunity is. But the main focus why people do go into multiple streams is because cost of living is so high.
Yeah.
And I think it's important. But there's also a lot of value in learning and growing as a human
100%.
being and exposing yourself to different spaces to be able to then say, oh, I've also learned this, I've also learned that. You're also not going to leave this life thinking I only did one thing for my whole life, because that's what old people used to do. They used to have this badge of honor of staying in a company for 40 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, bro, you know absolutely nothing else.
Yeah, like,
besides that 40 years you were
dangerous.
at this insurance
Yeah.
company. It's very tricky, the thing for
Yeah,
me, I'm
no,
not
yeah.
gonna lie.
Yeah, no, Linda, it sounds very scary. Like, it sounds really scary. Because my dad is one of those people with that badge of honor, like 50 years and wabo. And like now, because of the innovative ideas that we probably will have, like, why don't you want to do it sounds like, what?
Yeah.
What are you even talking about? Understand? And I understand times have changed. Mental capacities and the privileges of doing certain things has changed. But in this time, in this day and age, sure, we know the standard of living or the cost of living is high. But at the same time, I generally, for me personally, I've found it to be more rewarding if there is mental stimulation in the process as well. Because at the end of the day, but you don't even have the knowledge or the capacity to know how to dispose this money or grow yourself or whatever. You end up making more money, mara, like there's no progression. You're not doing anything fruitful with it. Because when on Hanori, now 27 is not enough for me. I need 50. You get the 50, mara, that extra that you make, you just...
But also you find that the more money you make, then you also then adjust your living standards according to that as well.
Exactly.
Because then you're like, oh, I've got an extra 30K,
Exactly.
I'm booming. Then you change your lifestyle, you get a better car, you get a better apartment.
Which defeats the
know,
purpose.
It doesn't, but I also think it's also to upgrade your life. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you also leave something on the side to be able to enjoy your life. Because at the end of the day, that's what progress is. People come from the hood and they leave Soweto to move to the burbs, not because they feel like they need to be closer to work, but it's also a sense of growth. It's a sense of, am I taking myself to the next level for me? Am I elevating myself?
Yeah.
And I'm willing to pay that extra 10K a month because I'm elevating who I am and I'm putting myself in a position to be able to expose myself to different people where I can get better opportunities purely because now I live in Sandton and I don't live in Soweto. So I'm in closer proximity to the things that I'm trying to achieve.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no,
Look, I guess it's pretty nuanced. I mean, I'm listening to what you guys are saying, and I guess for somebody who, because when I asked this question, in my head I was thinking, you're talking about people who want to be stimulated mentally, but generally, and that's a handful of people, right? Generally, what do people get side hustles for? There's a financial need, and they want to close it, right? And then you get people who get money, right? And they're like, look, because I've had moments where I had all the money in the world, but I felt empty. And that's where the stimulation comes in, you know, when you want purpose, right? And then you get people who have purpose, but it's like, gonna chill at them, you know, it's like, I want more money. Hence I say it's pretty nuanced.
I think it's a self-actualization thing as well, because everybody's got different needs. 100%. You know what works for you.
Yeah.
There's certain things that work for other people. There's people who are built to be entrepreneurs and to make R1 million today and have zero in the account next month.
I relate.
There's some people who are built to survive entrepreneurship. There's some people who will never survive entrepreneurship. They need a 9 to 5. That is where their comfort lives. That's where their security lives.
And it must be okay.
And it's fine.
It's fine.
There's
100%.
absolutely nothing wrong with
I
that.
love
Because
that.
your personality also needs to drive the situation.
Yeah.
If you are not built for entrepreneurship, please, I beg of you, do not do it. Because that thing will give you a heart attack. It's not for everybody. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
And if you are a 9 to 5 person, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being a 9 to 5 person. Grow in that 9 to 5 position rather than push yourself to say, I have the security of earning an income on the 25th of every month, but I can then grow myself and say, okay, am I going to study on the side? Where do I want to go? I want a promotion. How do I get myself there? To the point where I'm now the CFO or the CMO or the CEO.
Definitely.
That's your pattern. Stick to it.
Yeah.
Because not everybody can be a tenderpreneur. Woo.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's also how these things are paraded.
Yeah.
Like what you're saying with social media.
Yeah.
Like people will be like, Like about our vlogger here.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not trying to be about this accounting job or whatever the case. But with what you're saying, if you know where you thrive in, you can stick there or stick with what you're doing, grow in it and become better. There's this girl from home, bruh. Like I always like share about her. Like this girl makes living at home like the best thing I've ever seen. Like
What does she post?
no, like she'll just post like normal content. Like I think she's employed in government stuff or whatever the case. Mara, like she just posts like lifestyle pictures. Like she'll post herself like going out, every piece of content that you probably seen on TikTok. Mara from home, And for me, when I look at home, like with what you're saying, there's really nothing much about home. But she makes home look so desirable, bruh. And for me, I feel like it's those type of people who are able to tap in or have reached that within themselves to be able to maximize on their environment or whatever the case. It's not about. She's not saying if only I was in Joburg or if only this and this.
She's making her circumstance work for her.
It's working for her, And you, like I promise you look at her content or the things that she posts or whatever. It's not like craziest things that you've ever seen, but Nanje yourself as a person looks Yeah.
Also very situational, based on where you are in life right now. I'm at a point where I want to start a family and all of that.
You're broody, yes.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
Yeah, we know.
Right. So a side hustle is very important to and for me, right? Because I'm thinking about like all these things. You have a child, it changes the entire conversation. You know what I mean? You want to do this, you want to do that. For instance, we have to pay for my wife's fees, the MBA, which is 450,000 rand.
Guys,
and we are married. So it's not a thing of it, no, baby, you're alone in this. It doesn't work like that, you know what I mean? So for me, a side hustle right now is not a, hey, like I want to be stimulated, type of thing. It's like, no. There's a need.
Yes.
Right? These are the things that we're doing right now before we have kids, right? And we have to close that gap. And 100%. Even when we do have kids, we want to actually, make life easier for them.
Yeah, primarily I think side hustle is about making more money, bro.
Yeah.
Like you like just by concept, like it's a multiple stream of income. If there's one thing or another they taught us in film school was that from the onset, they were like, hey, multiple streams of income. It wasn't side hustle is a new term now that
but I think a side hustle is a term purely based on cost of living. Apologies, I know I've been on my phone, but I've been looking for a post that I saw this past week. I can't find it. When I find it, we'll put it up on the screen. But there is a post that I saw where they did a survey about the types of jobs that Gen Zs are actually looking at doing. And whereas previously our parents might have looked at traditional roles like medicine, lawyers, teachers, whatever the case may be. We've come into more accounting, business.
I saw that article.
But then there's a different post now where at the top we're moving with the social influencers.
Yes, of course.
Because the internet is saying you can make money with your phone. And I find that so fascinating because I think now Gen Zs have also realized that they don't have to be stuck in a place they're unhappy in. They've also realized that I can make money in different ways and different means as long as I push myself and I give them something different. So speaking to that girl that you're talking about who's at home and you sit back and you're just like, I got out of there for a reason because there's nothing happening
100%.
at home. She's like, I'm going to make my circumstances work for
100%.
me. I have the internet, I have a cell phone, I'm going to work, and at some point some brand is going to see me and we're going to be moving. There's another girl who I know who's living in like a farm area, and she's cooking and she's making organic meals out of her stuff, and she's perfectly fine. She doesn't have to be in Johannesburg. She has her cell phone,
100%.
She has the internet, and she records herself basically 100%. Living farm life, and she's getting all of these brand deals because she's able to create something different and different content for people to view. You know what I mean? And I believe the reason why that comes in, yes, social media is one thing because it's quick money. People are doing it because it's effective and it's in my account in 2 weeks' time. I don't have to wait for the 25 for me to get paid. Whether it's social media, whether it's people wanting to be DJs because everyone's a DJ these days. It's just, all it is, it's about accessibility to money and also wanting to do something for myself.
Yeah.
How am I feeling stimulated? Because I'm not going to sit in a job where I'm unhappy and I'm depressed and I'm being micromanaged and bullied by my manager every day. Gen Zs are not staying in jobs anymore. That 40-year badge of honor is not happening
They're
with
not
Gen
about
Zs.
it.
Definitely.
You can forget about it.
Yeah.
Those people are moving from job to job. They'll stay in a place. Oh, I was there for 6 months. Oh, I couldn't do it anymore. The coffee was bad, so I moved over. That's what they're doing. And you as an employer, you must also deal with the fact that maybe your staff turnover is going to be much higher than what it was
Sure.
5 years ago. Because if you want to employ young people, that's what you're going to face.
Yeah. And I suppose it's just having the conversation with yourself to say, my worth is not in, an accounting job or me being a teacher and so on and so forth. Because oftentimes what happens is you tell people that I'm a social media influencer and they look at you weird. It's like, that's not a real job.
It's a real thing.
You know what
That's
I mean?
why SARS is coming after you now. You gotta pay.
But I guess
PAYE.
just coming to terms with the fact that, hey, man, there's different ways to make a living nowadays and walking in that.
Yeah, I think with what you're saying about the badge of honor, though, is our parents knew that if I got this thing's gonna sustain me for the next, But with what you're also saying, it's like, it's so 6 months, And what I've learned is that another thing about the industry, our industry, media industry, that is being reinventable, like being able to reinvent yourself is also something that should be like normal to you.
Yeah.
Because of just like the regeneration of new talent or whatever the case might be, it's a necessity. You know what I'm saying? Like for you to also be like, okay, I did this thing for 2 years. I'm moving on to this thing now. I did this for 3 years, And I've seen it even with my career progression to say that there were things that I told myself I would never do that thing. I would never do that thing, And I found myself having to do that thing. You understand? And then growing in that thing and then actually specializing in that thing. So I think with the whole badge of honor thing, not just you saying, okay, you do this thing, you're not going to do anything else. Allow yourself to be reinventable. That's,
All right. Guys, let's close.
Yeah.
Close.
On a lighter note, Sech, close for us, please.
Whoa.
Sorry, yes.
Before we close with Sech, we still haven't had an opportunity to take him waxing. Don't worry, we haven't forgotten about it. The experience is still going to come. We're going to figure it out. We just haven't had time to maneuver our shooting schedule. But it's happening. I know he's trying to run away from it, so I'm reiterating it to remind him it's still happening.
Okay, guys. Okay, it's fine. But yeah, like a patch of wax, we out.
Cheers.
Oh, that's funny.